welcome back to the NattyShedLife podcast. Ross has told us that we need to introduce ourselves.
Yes.
So, who are we?
Right. who are we
Who are
actually?
we?
What the fuck?
No idea.
Wild.
Who's going first? You. Right, okay. I'm Nicola.
Mm-hmm.
And I am business development at Gillies Mackay.
How long have you been here?
Oh, good question. 5 years? 6 years?
7? 2018?
Was it 2018?
Yeah.
I thought CMA was 2018.
Well, it was a bit of both. I think,
Aye. There we go, 7 years.
Jesus.
Ooh, I don't know, that's a lifetime.
Have you got the 7-year itch yet?
Oh, that happened a long time ago.
Happened within 7 days.
Yeah.
Aye. So you're Nicola.
Yeah, who are you?
Nicky.
Yeah.
I bet you were never called Nicky before you came to Gillies Mackay.
No, but I don't like Nicky.
No, it's horrible.
No, I don't like Nicky. Nick's fine. I can
Nick's
deal with
alright,
that.
yeah.
I think the older I'm getting, I'm just like, my name's Nicola.
My name is Nicola.
Yes, call me that.
Okay, well, fab. Nice to have you here, Nicola.
Thanks.
Yeah. My name's Cara. I'm the CEO of Gillies Mackay, as it pains me to say. It's the title that I never wanted. I don't know why it irks me so much. I think it's like an Americanization or something that I just don't like about it. But yeah, that's who I am apparently. And I've been here since I was in nappies.
A little baby.
A little baby in a cage in the show area. That's where Granny Caroline used to keep us.
Oh, brutal.
In a little pen, yeah. That was it, back in the day when it all started.
We'll get that story.
Aye.
one day. There's another one.
Mm-hmm. So what are we talking about today?
Well, who are we talking about today? So we're back on shining the light on the Gillies Mackay employees. So last time it was Kieran. And who do you want to shine the light on today?
Well, I think the easy option for me would probably be Arran. And that's because I am putting Arran forward for an award. He's a special wee soul. So he is. Aye. So yeah, let's talk about Arran, I think. Aye.
Yeah, so who is Arran?
So Arran Ramsey King is a finishing joiner for Gillies Mackay. And he's been with us for a fair while now. I think it's about 5 years, maybe 4, maybe five actually. And he came in as I think he came in as a finishing shingler type role. We had that role for a couple of years, didn't work out, don't need it anymore. But that's how Arran got his entry. I remember his trial day when he first came for interview, and Gordon was really keen on him as a sort of good fit. And I remember he's just quiet, quite unassuming, just quite shy, and he, head down, got on with the tasks of the trial, shingling roofs and doing bits and bobs, and seemed to take to it like a duck to water, like he already knew how to do everything type of thing. And I think that's precedent for Arran in everything that's been thrown at him. He's a multi-skilled joiner, so that means that he can do multiple roles within the company, which basically means that when you get to that stage, you're kind of indispensable. And we need you a lot, and you end up having to save us a lot. So Arran fits the bill for that, and it helps that he has this sort of happy-go-lucky type soul about him, that means that he's very rarely phased, and he turns up and just gets on with the job that's thrown at him for the day. He doesn't grumble at change at the last minute. He's always the one that has to sort of step in and help out when things aren't going quite right, or if somebody's not well or whatever. Arran's our sort of go-to guy. So yeah, that's Arran, and that's what he does. He's the finishing joiner for Gillies Mackay, and he just started this year his apprenticeship, which is an adult apprenticeship, because he's so skilled. He doesn't have to live it up with the youths. He can go straight into this express 2-year course to gain his qualifications for Master Craftsman. And he's doing that at Stirling College at the moment. So everything seems to be going fine. But, you know, he just started in August, so we'll see how he goes. I know that there's a lot of work because it is a condensed course. And I'm very aware of what that pressure might feel like in, say, 8 months' time or whatever. But he's surrounded by lots of support. There's a few of them that have been through that sort of thing before. So he's got good guidance. And yeah, I am fully confident that he will excel at that. And that's why, I'm putting him forward for an award, like them all. That's my plan. I'm going to find an award for everyone. But this one's come up for Arran through Skills Development Scotland. So I'm putting him forward for that. And of course, no doubt in my mind that he's going to win. Yeah.
What's the specific award?
It's the best apprenticeship award.
Right.
I mean, the specifics are, do they turn up? What are the expectations of an apprentice? And I feel like Arran will be above and beyond. I know that he will, because of everything that he's already doing for the company.
Yeah.
And the fact that, to take on a course like this is fully self-directed. It's like going to night school because you're so passionate about something that you want to do. And it's a big ask. So, yeah.
Gillies Mackay is like an apprenticeship before an official apprenticeship.
Yeah. So we generally prefer to employ people from unskilled backgrounds. And the reason for that is because of the way in which we build buildings. So we manufacture them and we assemble them. So there's two elements of construction there. There's a manufacturing element and then there's the actual on-site element of it. And neither of them are actually construction. So anything that you would normally get trained in if you were to go through college or whatever is typically for an on-site job. So think about like a commercial site, like building houses and things like that. None of it's particularly relevant to us in terms of master craftsmen. So we engineer our buildings and we use building control compliance as a guide for that. However, we are sectionally made panels. So we make everything in our own workshop. So when we get to site, all the technicalities of the building are pretty much done. Like that's the idea. And so when it comes to site, it's like a massive IKEA bookcase type thing. So it should be fairly straightforward in that sense for actually putting them together. So any skilled background that comes to us finds it difficult to unlearn what they have previously learned. And what's important to us might not be important to on-site construction because all of our stuff's made in-house. So it's really difficult to get through those learning barriers when somebody has already been trained in a certain way. And there's many ways in which you can build a shed, as we, fucking know it. So we prefer to start with people who haven't got much experience in what construction or joinery is, and then teach them our way of doing it, which seems to be really effective. And Arran's testament to that as well. He came into the company at a very difficult time because obviously with COVID and everything kicking off, it was just an unknown amount of pressure that we had on us. I mean, me and you specifically, like everybody else, 10-week holiday, we haven't forgotten. Me and you didn't get that. We were dealing with the biggest boom that Gillies Mackay's ever experienced, and the demand on our capacity at the time was huge. So we had to employ fast with people that were capable of taking instruction, being shown once and getting on with it.
Yeah.
And Arran was the exemplar for that. Like, he excelled in that and quickly made himself into this multi-skilled person that we rely on heavily today. So, yeah.
What does a finishing joiner do?
Clever question. What does a finishing joiner do? Do you know?
I could try and describe it, I think.
Go on.
Right, okay. So, from what I understand from the workshop, there's two kinds of joiners. There's a bench joiner, and then there's a finishing joiner and there's a parts joiner. I'm going to get this mixed up. I think finishing and parts. So from what I understand is that the bench joiners put the main panels together. So that could be wall panels, floor panels, roof panels.
Yep.
So they're like the main body of the building. And then the finishing joiner, I still think I'm going to get mixed up with parts, make the finishing parts of the building. So I think it's things like corner strips, fascias. Those are the two that come to mind. There's definitely more than that.
Yeah.
And put the final, I know that there's engineering behind it, but final finishing touches on the building, essentially, I think.
What if I told you?
Oh no.
That the finishing joiner is also the parts joiner.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, so Dean and Arran, they got a new title when we started doing the radiatas, and we had to send them out on site to do all the internal fit outs for the lining and the finishing. So finishing joiner was sort of referring to the on-site elements of finishing a building. So they would do all the internal works, but also they too are responsible for all the parts. But to stop things from getting confusing and also to reassign their responsibilities so they understood that they were both responsible for the workshop parts and the on-site finishing joiner was born. And the finishing joiner could be called a finishing joiner just for parts, even if they hadn't had to go out and site on anyway, because that's exactly what you described. All the finishing elements to a building is what they make in parts.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the finishing joiner, what they're responsible for in the parts department is specific to the workshop. So what's being made on the bench, that relies heavily on the parts that is needed for that building. So like you mentioned, like the fascias and the corner strips, there are a couple of things, just a couple of strips that relate to that building. There's a hell of a lot more that goes into the roof structure, which is typically lent upon the parts department rather than the bench joiner. We're talking about peaks and trusses and additional strips that are for under eaves, for the tin, for the barges that hold everything up at the front. There's a huge amount of elements that the parts department are responsible for to make sure the building goes together. So that's part of the finishing role, because those elements are put on after a fact. So the panels go up, the building goes up, and then all these little bits are added on to finish the building. And then internally, when you're talking about on-site finishing, that's when it comes to the lining and the insulating of the building, and then the finishing strips that are part of that job. So the little bits of wood called ingos that go around windows, and the hockey sticks that decorate the window, the skirting, the corner joins, all of these things, they all play a part into what the finishing role is for the inside of the building too. So to encapsulate both of these roles or both of these jobs, whether it be in workshop or out on site, it's just much easier to call it the finishing joiners. And it requires a higher level of detail and priority on these types of things, rather than just what would be seen as an on-site assembler's role, which is making sure that the building is in square, is watertight, is joined all together, and is done methodically so it does what it's meant to do. There's a different level of attention to detail for that role. And it takes a particular person to be able to commit to that detail. And as much as somebody is really good at assembling panels and ensuring that the building is square and watertight, and that it's all done in a methodical way to make sure that the building goes together properly, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right person that should be doing all the little detailed bits of the building that make it look good towards the end. So these types of attentions to details are very different. So everybody has a better, like they have their superpower of skill set. So the finishing joiner does require a certain element of standard to a degree that's beyond most. And I say that not to diminish other people's abilities to work. I just mean that is their favoured priority. It's like they want it. They want it to look a certain way. And I need to be able to trust them when they're doing that job, especially out on site, that it's going to be met to a standard that I would deem good. Because in that scenario, I know that that's what I've promised the customer. So if I'm happy, I know that the customers will be happy because I've said that this is what is going to happen.
What's the specific skills and qualities that Arran brings to that specific role?
Well, I think a lot of what Arran is capable of doing is his own sort of intuitive sort of skill set. So there's certainly something crafting in Arran's own hands, and I think it's important to remember that as joiners, they're all creatives. They're all making something. And Arran's ability, or his innate ability to do it, to be precise, to be neat, comes from within him. But it also comes with the influence that his mentor has on him. So our operations supervisor, Dean, is his partner in crime, but also his mentor in terms of like teaching him the importance of what he's doing. And I think under Dean's leadership, as the most anal person about anything detailed, like there's a standard, and then there's Dean's standard. So like if you're up against that day in, day out, then you're going to be good. And I think it's testament to their teamwork together that, especially, you know, as Arran has progressed, he can lead himself. Dean's on holiday. Arran's away out with a 12 by 12 Duchny, which is a 5-sided corner garden room. It's a complex build. He's out on site leading with that. I mean, fair enough, his understudy is Grant, the founding director, but it's Arran that's leading on it. So, you know, it's a big deal. He is so capable. And he, you know, it's testament to him as a person, his dedication to it, the focus that he has for it, the want to do a good job.
The Dean and Arran team is brilliant. Like, and you can see how well they work together. I don't see them a lot, but you can see it within the chat that we use. That like how well they gel together. Mm-hmm. What impact does Arran have on Dean?
Yeah, that's a funny question. I don't suppose it's just Arran. I think Dean himself does have like a sort of like big brother or fatherly figure over the younger ones in general. He does a lot of looking after in terms of making sure that they're set up well, set up for success, and that they know what they're doing and they've got the right tools. And if they need help with something or understanding something, he'll take the time. So like that, you know, that dynamic is because he's had to gain patience from having an understudy. Like Arran was given to him with no skill set. And it was like, right, Dean, this boy's in your department now. You need to deal with him and train him up. And since then, and you know, similarly with Gordon, you know, and Chrissy, like they've all had elements of where they've had a non-skilled person that they've had to train, and they've all done impeccably well with showing them their craft and bringing them on. And I think Dean does get a sense of achievement there. I do think he's proud of Arran's work and his skill set and the level of which he can finish too. I think that's important. It gives them something else, you know. The older ones, like they've been doing this job for such a long time, and I can't imagine that there's any one of them that would say that it's not rewarding to be able to pass on your talent, to be able to pass on your skill. I think they do see it. Maybe not day to day, but on reflection, 100%, they definitely do.
What's been Arran's biggest challenge here?
I think with Arran, and it's maybe not just singularly to Arran either. There is a confidence that's required. I suppose maybe when you spoke about when I speak with Kieran, and you know he comes back to you and he's full of confidence about being able to do something. I think that similarly is required for the operations as well, and I see it in all of them, a growth cycle within them in terms of their mental state. So just like, do they believe in themselves? Do they have self-worth? Do they have self-esteem? these things are crucial to whether or not they're going to be able to perform at a level that's required. And I think it's safe to say that, in fact, it's not even safe to say, like, the feedback that I've had from them on several occasions is how much they feel their confidence has grown within themselves as a man, as a person. And I think that's evident in their workmanship, but also in the way they hold themselves and the way that they identify when they're here. So we do say a lot about disarmament at Gillies Mackay, about picking up your title. As you walk through the door, you can leave the rest of the world outside, because when you're here, this is who you are, and you get to show up as your best self. And as wanky as that might sound, it's fucking true. To see the confidence beam from them when they've achieved something that they've created with their own hands. There's no other job, I don't believe, that gives that sense of instant gratification. Look at the shit hot job you've done. Like, to see that, you've made something. I think it's done wonders for them. And I think, you know, when they first start here, it's all very nerve-wracking. It's a huge learning curve. And then I think quite quickly they start to realize they're not alone, and they do have mentorship, and the people that are around them want them to succeed just as much. And they give them the space and the ability to learn through mistakes as well as anything else. And I think, so ultimately with Arran, his confidence over the past few years has grown significantly. And I don't know, I can't speak for him, but for him to put himself forward to do a fast track apprenticeship course that has to be condensed into 2 years, that will require such a commitment on study, from a background of someone who wasn't that keen on studying, for him to be able to put himself in that position again, I mean, that takes balls. Like, it really does. It's a big commitment, and I'll champion him the whole way to support him on that. And I think that's testament to where he started and where he is now.
Yeah, I think I think we've all witnessed it with Arran, is that there's one point where, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, like, where he was a bit lost, and like he was trying to figure out his purpose in life, essentially.
Yeah.
He got a lot of support within that over the years with specific people and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's fighting for this, like, I want to do this, like
putting himself forward for
that's
it.
it for the apprenticeship. And it was brilliant to see when it just clicks for someone like that. And I think like that Aaron's like a great example of like the type of culture that you've set up, in terms of you talking about the growth cycle, in terms of them going from boys when they first come into here into growing men. It's beautiful to see. But why is that important? Like, for you, why is it important for Gillies Mackay?
Yeah, to like actually for a business, like why would I care? Yeah. Like, yeah, totally. I think going a bit off piste here, but I'm sure I'll be fine. We had the interview for the Courier for the Family Awards, right? And we're sitting down, we're chatting away with the two main guys, and the Hendricks and Logie guy says to me, everywhere I go, like, all I hear is like people like moaning about the employing this generation, like how difficult it is, how nobody wants to work and all this bullshit, right? And like, just like, you know, the general census of the generation, well, beneath us, I suppose. And yeah, so it's just like that mentality. Like, I can see like what's happening here is that it's millennials and above who are in charge of the generation below. Yeah. And the way in which they learn, or the way in which they were taught, this is how they think it should be done. And then they're trying to force that ideal on a generation. They're like, no, actually, we don't want to do it like that. We want to do something else. Yeah. It's actually got, you know, something inside's got to tick for me to be able to do something for you. And they don't recognize that, and they don't think it's valuable, and they don't value it. And that's fine. Like, if you want to run your business in that way, that's okay. Like, that, you go and do that for yourselves. But for me and how I run this business, all I have ever seen throughout all of my leadership, and I am talking from when I was about 14, which was not that long ago, is how people have responded to different ways of leadership. And ruling under a blame and shame management system has never worked, and it will never work. And I'm not saying that I don't fuck up sometimes and revert back to old habits of what I've learned as a millennial. But for the majority of the time, and for the time that I try my hardest, I will not do that. What I will do is look for the good and just fucking find it, because you've got two options. You can blame and shame and make somebody feel like shit, or you can say, well, you know what? Let's try this instead. And maybe this instead has progression. It has a way forward, because blame and shame doesn't. That just makes folk fucking miserable. And what happens when people are miserable? They don't turn up for you. You don't give them an environment that's worth it. Well, they're not going to be here. And what do you think? Do you think that they're spoiled, or that, you know, they need to work for respect, or they have to earn it, and all this pish, like all of that, like hierarchy nonsense, like that's it? It's like, you as a leader, you need to fucking work for respect. You need to turn up. You need to show up for these people. So that's why it's important to Gillies Mackay, is that, this environment, this nurturing environment is crucial to our existence, because I cannot tell you how, well, I can, you experience it, how important it is for all of us to turn up and do our job to make this work. Because if one of us isn't here, then it just falls to shit. We all need each other. So if I was to make it a horrible place, and I was constantly having to deal with absenteeism or turnover of staff, it would just be brutal. You know how hard it is if somebody leaves. You know, it's just, it's not worth it. So how about just make it good instead? Yeah?
Yeah. So one of the things that I admire most about you in terms of what you've just described there is how you look after the men specifically within Gillies Mackay. It's easy to, you can bring everybody together and see people as people, right?
Yeah.
And you can do things a specific way, like just because like it's in a book, or because this person said that this other leader said this is the way that you're supposed to do it, that, but you didn't think like that. Like you see the individuals, and then you see like these are men, and this is how men think, and these are women, and this is how women think. And you're constantly like really considering those needs between like all of those factors. It's just, there's so many levels to it, there's so many layers to it. And like you fighting for how men should be led is like amazing, especially from a woman, coming from a woman as well. Yeah. Because like that, and a woman in the, I mean, this is another podcast, right? And a woman in the construction industry to lead these guys. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, where does it come from?
Yeah.
I've got a really good dad. I don't have a dad complex. You know, Dad and Grant started this business. And I mean, it would be stupid not to think that how influential they two have been to me. And in terms of like my growth as a person and turning up and being a decent person, or trying to be a decent person. God forbid, I've made plenty of fuck ups in my time, but ultimately coming to this stage and being responsible for effectively the lives of others, because this is their livelihood. This is how they make their money. This is where they spend the majority of their time. To turn up and be responsible for that, like I do feel the weight of it. I do understand that this is a huge responsibility. And I want to do the best job that I can for them. And I think when it comes to men's mental health and men in general, like, yeah, I mean, I like guys. Saws. It's not very popular, but I fucking do. I love them. I think they are worth it. They're worth the effort. They're worth the time. And when you see somebody, when you actually see them for who they are and what they're capable of, and you let them know that you can see them, like the shining that comes from that is beautiful. So yeah, without getting emotional about it, it's like, it just comes from a place where I've never known any different. I've worked in this company for so long, and I've always been surrounded by guys. There was a time in the company where Kath wasn't even here, and the horrible thing had happened, and it was just me. I was the only girl. So I'm very comfortable in this environment, and I see them as my peers, and I want them to have good lives. It's not anymore like it's not any more complex than that. I want them to feel good about themselves and have a good life. So I'll do my damnedest to give them the environment that they need to do that.
Beautiful. There's something. You and Arran have a special relationship, right? Yes, you do.
My wee pal.
Do you want to describe that?
Arran, I think Arran reminds me of me. I think that's probably the easiest way to say it. And then just in the general sense, like Arran's humour, his upbringing, the way he is as a person, he's full of humour. He's so funny. He loves the crack, and anyone that can take a joke is good in my book. And we're on a good wavelength together, I think. But also, I do keep that sort of like, I'm his boss and he is my employee, and there is a respect there that I've earned from Arran by showing up for him and making sure that that he is seen. It happens over time, and we'll talk about some of the other relationships I've got with the other ones as well, because there's some interesting ones that have been slower burners. With Arran, I've got full confidence and I trust him, and I think that counts for quite a lot.
You can completely see that with Arran in terms of like him knowing where the boundaries lie between like having that kind of relationship with someone, like a friendship relationship with someone, but knowing the work's there and the work's needs to be done and respecting the roles. And I think everybody experienced that. I've definitely experienced that with Arran as well. Like my favourite thing to talk about with Arran is Eminem. Like that's the thing that we really on, and Arran, the rap battle is coming. We will be getting there. But when we talk about work, like you can see it. There's like a shift in his face. And he's just like, right, yep, getting it done. Like that kind of thing. So and it's nice to have that, where you could have both of that. But and setting up the right circumstances to allow people to feel comfortable like that as well, so that they know. Right, so Arran's in his apprenticeship right now. He's just started it.
He's there
so
today.
What does that mean for him next?
So ideally, right. So what is this? This is an element of self-discovery, I think, for Arran himself, and I know this from my own journey as well. Like I was the office manager for Gillies Mackay, and I went away to university, similarly distance learning. Had to go to lectures at weekends and stuff like that for 4 years to get my honours degree in business management. Now I did that for myself as a confidence thing, to know that I was qualified to run a business, and I needed that for myself. And when it comes to why the boys would want qualifications for themselves, well, I mean, there's a bit of personal security in that, as much as I fully believe our business will be here forever, if something drastic were to happen, then a qualification is a good thing for them to have. A recognised one, especially if they need to go into commercial. So there's that. There's also, Gillies Mackay might not always be Arran's path either. He has talked about the big bad world out there, so you just don't know what the future holds. So, but I'm never going to be the person to stand in their way of progression, because if you stifle anyone in their growth cycle, then you fucked it. You've created a mistrust, because you're putting yourself first. And ultimately, when it's about them, it needs to be about them. So let them fly. Let them do what they want to do. Let them, be as big as they possibly can be. And we'll talk about that with Callum as well when we get on to him. But I've got to be fully accepting that they might not want to stay here forever, and that's okay. And I'll help them anyway.
You see that in the recent example with Sorley, and him going off to his farming. And yet he's still kicking around somewhere. I seen him with the tractor helping the guys not long ago. So it's good to have him close by. But like everybody does is celebrates it when they do go on their own path. And it's one that just means something to them, and it always ends up like that. It's beautiful to see. What does it mean to have Arran by your side on this journey? And how do you want to wrap Arran up?
Right, yeah, okay. So I think it's important to sort of circle back into Arran's beginning with G&M. And he really was, him and Ross and a couple of others, they were the sort of like pioneers of the next generation. And they gave Gillies Mackay new hope, new blood, and a new direction. So up until that point, we had been through quite a turbulent time. And so this just reset the bar for everyone. And by everyone, I mean like the legacy staff that had been here for a number of years, gave them all purpose, gave them direction, gave them something to get excited about. And as daunting as it was to train up all these new starts, they ran with it. And it has been the best change this company has ever been through. And that's all from the people that joined us. And they gave us that. They gave us new life. And they gave me an ability to create new direction on how I was going to lead. It was the dawn of a new era. It was the fucking Lion King, It was a big deal. And I'm forever grateful to him for that. That's part of Arran's legacy. And when he is beside me and we run this business, and the way I see it is that I will always be grateful to him for giving me the opportunity to be the leader that I want to be.
What's it?
Here. Cry. It's true though. It is true. It's solid. All from the heart.
Well, that was beautiful.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. There's so many things that was covered there.
I know.
I mean, we could have
talked for fucking ages, to be fair.
It's always the same. We always talk about this could be a podcast, that could be a podcast.
This is definitely a podcast.
Yeah, but I'm really, it's beautiful to see Arran's journey so far and the impact that he has had on the company, and how exciting it is to see where he could be potentially going as well. Well done, Arran. Fabulous job. And keep up. Yeah. So who are we talking about next?
I think we'll go Callum next.
Yeah. He's a biggie.
Yep.
He's a biggie.
We need half a day for that one.
Yeah. So you better tune in for the Callum. That's us for this week. We hope that you've enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions for us at all, drop them in the comments below, or send them to hello@NattyShedLife.com. We'll see you next week. Or you can send us your questions to NattyShedLife. Nope.
Just keep going.
NattyShedLife@hello.com. And we won't receive your questions.
Nope.
You're going to edit this part, with the shift, right? Right, okay.